Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Adair. Mr. Racy.
Mr. Ader, he is all focusing on the ramp. There's a few tests that were over an hour late and didn't have an ECG follow-up, but all testing was negative. And then as far as urine testing, one work he missed tested the next day. That test is still pending. But he's attending his therapy and support for meetings. I just need proof of those. But he has been communicating with me about some challenges we've been having. So yeah.
So how often is he testing per day on the ramp?
4
times a day. And you said how many?
If the test doesn't go through, or if it's not a compliant test, it'll make them retest. So, but he's scheduled for 4 times a day.
Okay. And so you told me that he only had one missed, or what?
Mm-hmm. Yep, on the 24th he missed, but he went on the 25th, and it's pending.
Okay. I mean, given the fact, the sheer volume of testing, I think he's doing a pretty good job.
Yes.
You know, I want
my 7 o'clock test last night is saturated. My 5 o'clock one device died, so I think I have to go up there and switch out for a different one or whatever because we have to test more than 4 times a day, 8 times a day. Probably fills the battery normal or faster than normal. So.
well, let's figure out why he's having to test 8 times a day. That's not what's by design. So,
it's the phone that has
which
the camera. Sorry.
okay, so let's see what we can do to assist on that. But the reason that I just went through the volume of testing is because, you know, Mr. Racy has let me in just a little bit, and I know it's probably more challenging than I even know. Like, it was a tough 2 weeks. And so I wanted you to see that, at least here, like, the sheer volume of testing, you should get congratulated for that. That's good work. You know, is it perfect? No, but I'm looking for progress here. I'm looking for effort. I'm looking for honesty. All right, and as long as we have those things, then we'll come pretty darn close to perfection. Okay, no one's going to ever attain that, but we're driving for it. We're striving for it. And so, after a tough couple of weeks, I wanted you to hear from me, like, hey, I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the fact that life sent you a couple curveballs and you didn't bail on yourself. You didn't bail on this program. You didn't, you know, I'm sure you had your moments, you know, frustration, anger, all that kind of stuff, but yet you kept showing up. Please just keep showing up. So that hopefully you can see today that, all right, life did this. Okay, well, then probably when I come in here today, there probably is a portion that says, well, I'll come in today and then, you know, just like everything else that's been going on, something's going to go sideways here. No. Control what you can control. And we can figure everything else out. So now, Mr. Tracy, any other updates? As far as, so we need meetings proof.
Yes, and I think he's looking for his meeting sheet. With the darkness been going on, it's
Get back over there and a lot of stuff. Transfer over, but it's just do or I can't.
So you're in between places. Right, okay, so that, while you're doing that, that's understandable. I always try to give the advice like, hey, you got your meeting sheet, although it doesn't sound like your camera is super reliable, but just take a picture of it. And that way you're always protected. You know? I mean, my God, we all have thousands and thousands of pictures that we're never going to look at on our phones. You know, what's one more, right? So just maybe snap a quick pic, and that way that'll save you.
I'll be out that way later on today. I got a job interview.
Oh, where at?
Another cooking job. Instead of hiring this club, it's Urban Chores. So another cooking position.
Okay. You know, I have heard in that industry that there has been a great need for people who can do that job. You know, and so my hope is that you'll be able to find a good opportunity that makes sense. That also is, you know, financially appropriate. So how did you hear about this one?
Friend of mine that I used to cook with in Ireland, he does part-time at work, so I had to call him up when I got let go from my job. Hope to ask around if anybody's hiring or being an next cook. You know, call him and let me know about it, so I got to go up there and talk to the kitchen manager today.
How does it go how does it work for interviews? Do you like just have to cook them something?
I'm not exactly sure, but when I talked to him, he was like, bro, you pretty much got a job. You know, he told him about how good I am in the kitchen and how fast I am, precise I am in my cooking.
Now, do you find, like, you know, you're working in the kitchen all day long. When you come home and, you know, you got to make yourself something to eat, do you find that you're like, I'm done. I'm done. Where's the microwave? Where's the peanut butter and jelly? You find that?
No, I usually, whenever I do cook in the kitchen, I try to take home. So I don't have to. It's all home.
That's smart. That's smart. I had one restaurant job in my life that was a dishwasher. Like, if you work as a dishwasher, a couple things. One, you recognize that there is, when the end of your shift, there's an unholy smell on your clothes.
That's what I started out as at Ireland. So I started off as a dishwasher, $1 an hour, and moved up within 2 weeks to a cook. So.
Now that tells you your quality versus mine. I spent a whole summer as a dishwasher, so I must have been a fairly lousy dishwasher. But I don't know how to describe it, folks. It was kind of like a really bad vegetable soup. It took me about 10 years to be able to eat vegetable soup again, just because I just couldn't get it out of my clothes, you know. But make friends with the chefs, which I did, and I think I was supposed to just get like a burger or something like that, but they always made me this potato whitefish, which was great. So I did graduate up to, by the end of the summer, I was doing like salads and desserts. I thought I was king of the world, you know. So I'm excited for you, because if you look at this as, you know, just an opportunity, whatever the reason was, it wasn't meant to be there, and there's going to be a place that appreciates your talents. You know, obviously you're going through a tough period in your life with a lot of challenges, but I happen to think that it's starting to reveal your character, you know, because you keep showing up when I'm sure there are plenty of suggestions or voices or urges to just bail. And here you are. I admire it. I really am. I'm glad. Whenever I see you there, I know that there's probably been something going on in the last 2 weeks that just knocked you down. But both, I know Mr. Tracy made that comment too. You just keep showing up, and we're going to keep figuring this out together. All right? All right, I'll see you in 2 weeks, right? July 14th.